Happy Monday night, everybody. I was hoping I'd do this a little sooner, but life got in the way. Every day, man. There's something every single day. Today was no exception. So let's just get into it, right? Equity markets. Bond markets, not awesome. Currency markets, we haven't talked about that. I can do a separate podcast on it. Not good. Why? What the hell happened? So obviously there was a lot of news going on in the world today with the Pope's passing, which is sad. It's unfortunate. But specifically with our markets, what is going on? And I think I've talked about this before. Usually you don't see, if the equity markets are weak, the bond markets might be stronger. They kind of play off each other. Currency markets, that measures more the strength of the economy. It's the strength of the U.S. dollar versus non-U.S. dollar currencies. But today, they were all shitty. I don't know what other word to use for it. It is what it is. So what happened? Well, here we go. At 9:21 Eastern, the exact specific minute of the day, President Trump went to Truth Social and posted something. And it rattled investors across markets. So let's get into what did he actually post. And why does it matter? The reason I'm bringing my phone is I want to actually read to you some of the language he used. Let's just say it's not language I would use. But, to each his own, I guess, right? All right, so let's dive in. Dig deeper. Here we go. So, in this post, Trump claimed that there's currently, quote, virtually no inflation, end quote. And the N and the I are capitalized. Don't know why. In the U.S. And that costs for energy and, quote, most other things, end quote, are on the decline. Not really true. No, the increases aren't as big as the increases used to be. But, that would just be accurate financial information. Next, quote, with these costs trending so nicely downward, just what I predicted they would do, there can almost be no inflation, but there can be a slowing, all caps, of the economy unless Mr. Too Late, a major loser, lowers interest rates now, capitalized, end quote. Oh yeah, no, investors are like, oh, here we go. What was the point of this? Who is he talking about? He's talking about Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, right? We talked about that in another episode. Fed is an independent organization. I view it in simple terms as the organization that does what it can through monetary policy to make sure that the United States economy is on as solid a footing as possible. So whether that be taming inflation, unemployment, stagnant growth, they have tools at their disposal to work on that. Yeah, they should be independent. Politics doesn't play a role. It's economics, it's facts, it's trend lines, it's, but it's also real people, like what's happening in real people's lives. Anyway, what did Trump say he was going to do? Wait, what? I think he hinted that he was going to try to fire Jerome Powell. I guess not like shocking news, but it's like you put it out there in Truth Social, call the guy a loser, you call him names, and now investors are like, he might actually try to do this, right? Is it legal? No. There was a Supreme Court opinion passed down a long time ago, I don't know the date, that said that the president cannot do this. However, at the end of that decision or opinion, there was some nebulous language that said something like, unless, it was like one of those, when you watch drug commercials on TV and everything seems great and then they tell you all the potential side effects and you're like, holy shit, like, whoa, that's a catch-all, right? Oof. Well, there's some catch-all language at the end of this opinion that's somewhat nebulous, and it says something to the effect of, and I'm not going to have the right words, unless this person is inefficient in their duties, I think was one of them. But you get the gist, right? So, supposedly, the Trump administration is trying to fire Powell and will do that with rationale that they're trying to weave into this nebulous language. Well, investors believe them. Because, why? Proof is in the pudding, folks. This is a president who, whether you like it or not, pushes the envelope, borders on legal, illegal, and basically forces someone to challenge it, right? that's where we're at. So investors freaked out. Dow ended up down 950 points. Bond markets wonky all over the place. And the currency markets, which measure the strength of the U.S. dollar, were at its lowest level in 3 years. Typically, you don't see all the markets kind of freak out together. We've talked about this before, right? Equities can be very risky. You can lose all your investment. When things go a little volatile or crazy, if you want to get out of that market, some people will go to government bonds in the bond market. Why? That's how the government funds itself. It's guaranteed. It's safer. It's a safe haven. What else is a safe haven? The U.S. dollar. It's one of the most stable, if not the most stable currency in the world. So much so that foreign governments actually hold U.S. dollars in their reserve because it's more stable many times than their own currency. So even that market went bonkers. It's not good, guys. It's not good. And it's not good that a single post from an individual can move markets like this. Is it anything new? Not in this administration, right? If there's one thing we've learned, announcements are made, whether they're tariffs, whether it's pulling them back, reinstating them, doubling down, whether it's immigration. And I'm not going to get political on whether these issues or topics are right or wrong, but the way in which they are communicated, that is wonky. Let's just admit it. It's I mean, if that's how he chooses to communicate, that's his right, to each his own. But this is the impact it has. These are the effects it has on our markets. So who does it affect? It affects the everyday American, right? Your savings, college funds for your kids, your mortgage, your ability to buy a new home, your ability to buy groceries. So these are real-term impacts. It's not a game, folks. And these little comments are making huge waves in people's lives. So I think we expect more of it. Never surprises me. I think some of the language that's used, in a way you almost want to laugh and be like, is this for real? But yeah, it is. So what can we do? Rather than part and parcel, let's say this is right or wrong, it is what it is, right? So we should expect more volatility, expect things like this to happen. I heard a phrase today, it was called Sell America Day. Sell U.S. equities, sell bonds, sell the U.S. dollar. And like I said before, very rare, not awesome. But we'll get through it, but I think we all need to expect that this kind of activity and like cause and effect, if you will continue. So what do we do? As I talked before, continue to educate yourself, dig deeper, and maybe a little homework. Feels like school now, huh? A little homework for you. In the next week, some of the biggest tech companies in the world are going to be announcing earnings. So every 3 months or every quarter of the calendar year, public companies will announce their operation results. And as part of that, they'll have a conference call. And investors can ask questions. You can dial in as well. Anyone can. It's pretty interesting, actually. So why is this important, Amy? Why? Because these are the companies that are going to get impacted the most by these tariffs. And they're the ones with feet on the ground, right, and their finger on the pulse of exactly what they're seeing in all of their end markets, demand for their products, everything. And they will be able to say or not. What they can't say as well is also important. So pay attention to that. What visibility they have into their business 6-12 months out. Are they even able to provide guidance? Guidance is guidance into how they're going to operate and produce financial results in the future, right? What do you think your revenue might be next year? Will you be profitable? Are they even going to be able to answer those questions? That would be extremely telling. So which companies? Tomorrow, it's Tesla, which will be interesting for a lot of reasons. And then Thursday, I think it's Alphabet. That's the parent company of Google. And then next week, let's see if I can get all these. Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon. Did I get it? I did. I got them. But those are the ones that I think will be very, very interesting. You don't need to dial into every call, but just pay attention. Maybe see how the stocks perform. People do trade stocks outside of market hours, so you can see aftermarket trading and see how these stocks are performing. But I think this will be the first real thing that we can see about the impact of the recent announcement on tariffs on the business and the economy. So with that, I'm going to leave you. It's been a day. I know we're going to have more like these, but I enjoy educating you. I hope you find it helpful. Thank you for all the support. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. Take care.